What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. Bullet Train, starring Brad Pitt, directed by David Leitch, is almost in theaters today. We're going to talk about it. Was this movie a surprise, or did it go off the rails? No. So Ladybug, played by Brad Pitt, is an unlikely assassin determined to do his job peacefully after one too many gigs gone off the rails. Daggone it, that was my joke. Fate, however, may have other plans as Ladybug's latest mission puts him on a collision course with lethal adversaries from around the globe, all with connected yet conflicting objectives on the world's fastest train. The end of the line is just the beginning in this non-stop thrill ride through modern-day Japan, like I mentioned, directed by David Leitch, starring the likes of Brad Pitt, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Brian Tyree Henry, Joey King, Sandra Bullock, and so many more. Also, this film is rated R for strong and bloody violence, pervasive language, and brief sexuality. You expect the violence. There's going to be blood and gore. If you can handle those things, I'm not going to say it's family friendly, but it doesn't go hard in other departments. So it's definitely one that delivers on the action as well as the ensemble. I'll be honest with you guys. I saw the trailer for this and I saw David Leitch's name. That got me excited. The cast is really good, but at the end of the day, you're thinking to yourself, is this going to be like a John Wick? Is it going to be its own thing? Or just a disappointing, crazy action film with a stacked cast? Because how many of those do we often get? Especially in August, normally not the best month for movies. And here's what Bullet Train does well, in my opinion. It delivers on what you want out of a movie like this. You want action? It's absolutely there. You want style? There may be more style in this movie than it could handle, but at least it has a distinct look and feel that doesn't completely go overboard compared to some other action movies we've gotten this year, and it takes advantage of its really good cast, whether it be the introductions to these characters, giving us backstory for each character. And at first I'm thinking to myself, why are they doing this? Anytime they introduce someone, they give us this big, sometimes convoluted backstory to bring us up to date on who they are and why they are there. And at first I was like, it just feels like too much. Like, why are they doing this for everyone? But after a while, it almost feels like you're in on the joke, right? It plays a lot of these elements for comedy, and some people aren't going to love that idea, but when you start to realize the tone that they're going for, which is distinctly different from what I expected, that's when I think a lot of people are going to flip that switch and start to really enjoy what they're doing. It's a very distinct tone, and I'm trying to figure out how to even say this right. It's over the top without being too over the top. I'm not going to make that full-on Tarantino comparison, but you could absolutely see shades of that in this movie. The action sort of plays out like in this Kill Bill way, not as self-aware, not as creative. Obviously, the comparison everyone's going to make is John Wick, and I say this in my reaction. I said, I got my John Wick fix. That doesn't mean this movie is, or should be, a one-to-one comparison to John Wick. My friend that went to the premiere with me, he said, you know what, that felt like a mixture of John Wick and Kingsman, and then I added in with a little bit of Tarantino, and that's when it kind of clicked, the type of movie that they're going for, and the type of movie that I feel like they completely nailed. I mentioned the humor. A lot of people are going to be like, but Austin, is it trying to do too much and be too funny, jokey? Yeah, there's humor, but they managed to balance those emotional moments and those extremely serious moments until it just kind of goes crazy in the last 20 minutes, and I will fully admit that was a bit too much for me, but I was having so much fun. I was so invested in the characters and the individual personalities and quirks of those characters to where I said, even if it goes completely overboard, it's still going to be a big recommendation from me because of the fun that I had throughout. Also, suspension of disbelief is key here, because while some of the action scenes were really grounded, right? The movie's called Bullet Train. Crazy enough, they don't use guns nearly as much as something like a John Wick, but that grounded action includes the hand-to-hand combat and the camera movements, making it to where we could see pretty much, a little bit of close-up in there, pretty much everything going on between the characters. And the idea of all of these assassins being on this train, played by incredible actors, each actor doing their job. Brad Pitt, really good. Not the character I expected. There's a little bit of a twist to where he's trying to manage that anger at the beginning of the movie, and that makes for some really great dialogue. But The two who steal the show for me, right? Brian Tyree Henry, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Tangerine and Lemon, they're the best. They're two of the best characters I've seen all year. Their chemistry, their dynamic, the unexpected nature of what they do in the movie, I loved them. And they're just as much the main character as Brad Pitt, which was really cool. I can't take credit. I saw someone on Twitter make a Smoke and Aces comparison. I'm like, yes, it's like that early 2000s ensemble, crazy over-the-top action movie that does overly utilize CGI at times, and there are certain sequences to where you're just going to have to turn your brain off. But there are other sequences that are so surprising, so fun, so gritty, to where you're really digging what they're doing, and David Leitch, he captures what he does best in John Wick, and that is that hardcore action, which does deliver maybe fewer and farther in between than I expected, but it does deliver. Biggest problem with the movie, at first I was struggling with the flashbacks. I'm like, why are you having to do this for each individual character? But like I said, I got on board with that after a while because the script is really creative in that way. The movie goes on too long. It's like 30 minutes longer than it needed to be, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if this scene or this monologue needed to be in the film. There is a giant exposition dump in the final 20 minutes, and really the final 20 minutes as a whole, they go completely over the top, and I'm like, you're making me stretch just a little bit to where I thought this movie was amazing prior, and now I'm kind of like, hey, maybe it's a little bit too much. Maybe it's a little bit much. Just a little bit. But I'm going to say it right now. It's the best action movie of the year. Not a lot to compare it to be honest with you. Also, some cameos that are going to make you smile. So before I give you my score, hey, if you're here and you like these reviews, let me know by dropping that comment. Are you excited for this movie? Or if you want to leave a thumbs up, it helps me, it helps the algorithm, so thank you. Bullet Train takes advantage of its incredible ensemble and delivers on the excitement. This is a surprisingly hilarious time that combines well-made action with a somewhat overstuffed plot. There's so much here that I did not expect, including the fact that I just had a great time with this film. Even with its flaws, I would watch this again, absolutely. 75% is my score. Thank you guys so much for watching. We have a lot of great movies coming out this weekend. Hopefully, we'll see. Prey, 13 Lives, plenty of reviews, and right now I'm watching Netflix's The Sandman. Expect a review probably Thursday or Friday. All right, guys, see you soon.